of the BiddieCast. Your host Dave Fess and Sean Klein. Dave, how's it going? You got your place all digged up in Halloween matter.
Yeah, spooky season is upon us. It actually officially started. Spooky season officially started in our house beginning of September. Once football season kicks in. But yeah, it's football's in the air. You can smell that football. Fall, leaves are falling. It's a good time of year. Fall is elite season, in my opinion.
Elite season, yes.
Elite season.
All right, well let's get into the games this week, yeah?
Let's do it.
Really interesting week. We have a lot of 1-1 teams, only a couple of 2-0 teams, and boy, it's wide open starting with this game. Bend It Like Beckham, who you and I both picked to win last week, gets upset by UK Bills, who's now I think second in scoring in the league.
Yeah, big upside. I didn't see that coming. As you mentioned, I thought Bend It was going to win it. But UK Bills, big games from, he had a huge game from Cooper Kupp, almost 40 points. Another big
Jones,
game.
41 points.
Aaron Jones. It's, you put those two together. I mean, he blew out Bend It, 30 points almost. So huge upset there.
Heading on to the Killer Tomatoes disappointing week against Double D. Break it down for us, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, Killer Tomatoes just didn't put it together. I mean, Trevor Lawrence and Matt Ryan both duds of performance from your quarterbacks. Christian McCaffrey, a 21-point performance from Christian McCaffrey, I think is below what you would hope. And then Amari Cooper, we talked about it last week. The 40-point performance in week one wasn't sustainable, but five points, oof. And then Cole Kmet, 1 point. I mean, it's rough.
And then the game of the week, Buffalo Angela against my team, the Muppets. Man, we got clobbered in this one. What happened, Dave?
You tell me. It's your team, man. What happened?
I can't figure out what happened other than Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jameis Winston both had bummer weeks. Tyreek Hill had another bummer week. And then
a dogfight going on right here, by the way.
Nice. Who's winning?
B always wins. You get the size advantage.
It was a tough week looking at my team, but Buffalo Angels just got a really solid team moving forward into week 3. It's my year, bitches, coming back strong, putting your team. Now you're playing for next year. You were the knob slobbers. I'm still keeping that on the power rankings.
That's fine.
0-2. That's going to be hard to come back from. A poor performance from Dak Prescott and Miles Sanders aided your frustration on this. But let's talk about Derrick Henry. Big game there. Derek Carr. Big game there. It's my year, bitches. It might be his year. It's still a really early season. And then the final game this year, Dave, take it away.
Yeah, you got Itty Bitty tight end by committee, Itty Buddy tight end by committee. It ain't my year. Mr. Anton, he copied me when he changed his name. Regardless, you look at Anton's team, they just didn't get it done. Josh Allen, 18 points. When Josh Allen has a bad day, in turn, Stephon Diggs is going to have a bad day, 17.6. You look across to Anton's team, only two guys went over 20. But on the flip side, Tom Brady, 35 points, 33 points. Kyler Murray, 37 points. Brandon Cook, he had 5 guys score over 20 points to Anton's 1 or 2 rather. So that's what it comes down to the line is, Anton put a lot of Buffalo Bills this week, put a lot riding on the Buffalo Bills team, and for a team that scored 35 points, their offense really didn't do all that good from a fantasy standpoint. So
Right. And one of the things I think we're noticing already early on in the season is those quarterbacks need to put up big numbers. You're seeing quarterbacks on each team putting up 30-plus points per week. So I think it's going to be really important to have those high-scoring quarterbacks on your team and avoid those quarterbacks who are going to score sub-15 points. So
Absolutely.
that's something to watch out for heading out into weeks 3 and 4 and throughout the season too, as quarterbacks get injured. Let's get into our power rankings here. Dave, let's start with number 10. You chose to put Killer Tomatoes at the bottom. And you know what? So did I. I really do think he's got a solid team, but they just haven't come up with the points yet this year so far. So far, the lowest scoring team already in the league. But they've got room to grow. It's still an early season.
Yeah, I mean, 0-2. I'm 0-2 as well. I can't say anything about an 0-2 team. Beautiful thing is, except every team except for 2 teams is either at 0-2 or 1-1. A lot of season left to go. We get the extra week happening, so no time to panic certainly. But yeah, Killer Tomatoes has some work to do with his roster. I mean, he's got Justin Fields on his roster that could turn into an amazing fantasy player. So we'll have to see. But yeah, the season's still young. But I would definitely say least amount of points. That's probably why I put him 10th.
At number 9, you got It Ain't My Year, which I think is the same as
Same teams. Yep.
the running back by the hood. I'm gonna keep all these teams in the same format. So if you change your name throughout the year, I apologize because what we're eventually going to do is chart this. So I need to have all the same team names there. I'll adjust that later. But Anton's team here, yeah, room for improvement certainly. You need to be in that top 5 is it top 4 to make playoffs, or we got 6 teams?
I think we got 6. We had 6 last year. So
top 6 to make it, and at number 9, that's not going to cut it for him.
No. Nope.
At number 8, you have next year, which is your team, right?
My team, yeah.
Yep. And I actually have Double D there.
Interesting. Why do you have Double D there? Because I'm 0-2. He's 1-1, right? So how would you?
Right. He's 1-1, but I still think your team, which I'm just calling the knob slobbers from here on forward.
That's fine.
Your team's solidly built. I think there's some pieces there that you have, and I just think there's too many questions that Derek has on his team. Maybe he's a good trade partner there, because I think that's an area when you're in this lower part of the power rankings, you might want to start looking for some deals.
No, and I would agree. I think I would agree.
Heading into number 6, we just kind of flipped here. You have Double D, and I have Paul's team. Again, I think Paul's got a solid team. We talked about this last year. I think Paul had a slow start last year too, and then
Paul had a terrible season last year.
I just think it was a little bit too late.
Yeah, I don't remember where he finished. I don't think he was really ever in contention for a playoff spot. Could be wrong, but I remember him kind of being at the bottom of the league last year. But yeah, I mean, you'll see where I put Paul's team in a little bit. Double D again. He's up there at I guess that's the 6th spot. Just because he's 1-1. This early into the season, I mean, that's really how I'm ranking I'm doing points scored and wins right now. And it just, when you're 1-1, I don't know if I can put you in front of you behind a 0-2 team. So
looking into the playoff teams here, you have making the wild card spot my team, the Muppets, and so do I. Again, lots of questions on that team, but I think overall solid as a whole. Should be good enough to hopefully make the playoffs without any injuries or unforeseen action like that. But that's why we play these games.
Absolutely.
Number 5, you actually put the bitches there, and I put your team, the non-slobbers. Even though you're 0-2, again, I think you've shown the ability to put up some points. It's just unfortunate that you didn't walk away with a win yet.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. Appreciate that. It's very nice, very kind of you to do that. But I like Paul's team this year. I'm not gonna lie. I think Paul, it's my year, bitches. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I like his team a lot.
Number 4, you have Chris's Bennett like Beckham Jr. and I've got Ben's committee of tight ends, running backs, whatever committee he has there. Both these guys have been solid coaches. I don't want to say owners, solid coaches of their teams for the 3 years we've been doing this. And they're constantly up in the top four.
Yeah, they know how to put together decent fantasy teams year in and year out. Reason I have Beckham Jr. below committee is just because committee's undefeated, and that's where I'm starting to see separation with these 2-0, 1-1 teams. Is it's hard for me to find reasons why I can put a team that's undefeated below a team that has 1 or 2 losses.
At number 3, UK Bills. They went up 1 for me and up 2 for you. So clearly their stock is improving.
Yeah. I mean, you look at that score, they beat who we had both as the number 2 team last week easily, 30 points. I'd say that's an easy fantasy victory. Solid team front to back. I think between UK Bills, between Angela, between Bitches, I mean, this is going to be an exciting season you're going to have multiple teams here, I think, really pushing for it. Best team in the league.
Number 2, this is where you have Ben's by committee, and I have Beckham Jr. A little flip-flop there between the two of us, with the UK Bills in between. Again, I've got to echo what you're saying. With these top 4 teams, it's a total crapshoot. I think they're all solid teams.
Absolutely, I'd agree. Season's still young.
And then at the top spot, we still have Buffalo Angela, the newcomer.
Great story, right? These are the kind of stories they make 30 for 30s about.
Of not only putting up wins, but putting up high point totals too.
Absolutely, she's got a very solid team there. So it's she might hit the ground running here in this league. Stealing that championship and never looking back. But we've got a lot of football left to play.
And now let's talk about before we head into the week 3 predictions. Let's talk about a player, just one player that you're really keeping your eyes on this week. Doesn't need to be on your team, doesn't need to be off your team, but who's one player that you're really looking at as this could be a defining week for them?
Davis Mills. And some people might not know who that is. He is the he is, I guess, on paper, he would have been the 3rd string quarterback for Houston, but with everything that's happening with Deshaun Watson, he's number 2, push up to number 1 because of Tyrod's injuries. And here's why. It's called the Tyrod effect. If you look back at the last 4 teams, 3 teams Tyrod has played for, Buffalo, they move on from him and they get Josh Allen. Josh Allen, baller when it comes to fantasy football. Cleveland, he gets hurt. And Baker Mayfield comes in, steals the job from him. San Diego, he gets hurt. And Justin Herbert steals his job. All 3 guys, fantasy studs. Maybe Davis Mills makes it 4 for 4. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I picked him up because I was like, fuck it, I get an extra roster spot. Why not? That's what I'm looking at. That's who, he's got a game. It's, who the fuck knows? We'll see.
Right. And when I was thinking about the player to highlight, it wasn't really a choice for me, but I wanted to think of some other players. It was tight between Tyreek Hill, who's coming off a bad week. He had a monster week 1. Jameis Winston coming off a bad week again, another monster week 1. And then Amari Cooper, monster week 1, and then severe regression week 2. What's week 3 going to look like? And the reason why I think my highlight player is Jameis Winston is because this is going to define his season moving forward. Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, if they put up just 5 points, it's not going to define their season. They're going to put up 30 points eventually throughout the season. Jameis Winston, however, if he doesn't have a good performance here, there might be concern that he might be benched in favor of Taysom Hill.
Yeah, you know my opinion on Jameis Winston. And we talked about a potential bottle bet that you brought up here. Originally, you were saying that he was going to score 40 points this week, and you kind of hedged away from that. Just smart. But now you're talking about you think he's going to finish top 5.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that bet, and I do think he's going to be near 40 points. I think there's a high likelihood that he scores over 30. I should have rephrased it to over 30 points instead of near 40. I think he'll get over 30 points, but like you said, there's a huge question mark there. You don't know if he will or not. But this week has got to define his season moving forward. Unlike any other player, I think, out there, except for maybe Davis Mills, because of the reasons that you just laid out. I think we got two good players to highlight here and keep an eye on in week 3.
Right. And to be clear, I know zero about Davis Mills' athletic ability, anything. I just have been purely going off of Tyrod Taylor's history of being replaced by young quarterbacks. So
and that's a really interesting take. Let's take a look at our predictions here heading into week 3. We have the committee against Beckham. Now you had the committee ranked higher than Beckham in your power rankings, but here you have Beckham winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, I actually looked back a little bit towards the previous league seasons in this league, and Beckham doesn't necessarily go on any kind of streaks where he loses multiple games in a row, and he's got a solid team. Look at the matchups. I think Beckham has a big bounce back here and kind of rights the ship a little bit for week 3.
And you and I are both in agreement that Buffalo Angela against the statistically last place team in our league, Killer Tomatoes. We're both taking Buffalo Angela for obvious reasons, but
yeah, it's like Chiefs. This is like a Chiefs versus Texans game.
But this could be a huge game for Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, absolutely.
An upset this week. And then we both chose the bitches over. We chose Paul over Anton. Now, do you still have a vendetta against Anton stemming from last year? Are you just picking against him just out of spite?
No, absolutely not. I have to give credit where credit is due. I said, if you guys remember last season, he wasn't going to win more than 3 games. He beat me 3 times. So, hey, congratulations to that. I think he's got some the matchups he's had so far. He's lost some decent teams, and last year, if you remember correctly, the team I wrote a lot was just so I won't get fined, who's no longer in the league. His team was replaced, but this year, my team that's not my team that I'm going with this year, bitches.
I'd agree with you, and I'm still not sleeping on your team either. We both picked your team to beat Double D this week. That's going to be a big matchup for both of you guys because Double D's at 1-1. You're at 0-2. You obviously don't want to go to 0-3. But even a 1-2, if I were Derek, I don't want to go that direction either. Let's try to bump up the rankings and be 2-1. But that's going to be a tough game. I think we have a lot of really good games this week. And the only one that you and I picked differently, the last one, Muppets and UK Bills. Why do you think the UK Bills are going to come in to Muppet Stadium and beat the Muppets?
I mean, UK Bills has scored more points than your team. Your team has the propensity to drop games in the most crucial moments.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Not score points when they need to score points. And the other reason is because you have Jameis Winston in your lineup, man. That's in and of itself is reasons to pick UK Bills in an easy one over Muppets.
So it's all hedging on Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
The man
absolutely.
To watch this week. All right.
See how many if he's going to go back to reverting to stealing some king crab legs and eating them W. I mean, he's only eaten 1 W so far, but we'll see what happens. My dogs are going crazy because they agree. I hate Jameis Winston.
Well, anything else to add this week, Dave?
No, not that I can think of. I mean, as kind of I mentioned in the group meet thing, the trade winds are beginning to swirl and whirl. League sources are saying that Muppets is looking to make some moves, and I got a couple running backs who have requested a trade. And as a great and honest general manager that I am willing to accept and to facilitate a trade of said running backs if the offer is right.
And so there's your shameless plug
Yeah, of course.
for trade offers. Well, that's
Gotta
all the
put it
time
in
we
there.
have this week on the BiddieCast. Dave, send it away for us.
Yeah, you guys, good luck going into week 3 of the NFL season. And I think the most important piece of information and advice I can give for everybody is to go fuck yourselves.